Kofi Kingston was walking out of the trainer's room. A very concerned Big E was standing there. So what's the update? At Extreme Rules, Kofi took a hell of a bump. Cesaro powerbombed him from the top rope down through 2 stacked tables outside the ring. It was a hellacious bump. And I thought for sure maybe he was, legitimately hurt and banged up, but this just reeks of total storyline. So he comes out of the trainer's room. He's like, oh man, I'm going to be out 6 weeks at least. They're not going to clear me for at least 6 weeks. And Big E says, well, don't worry, we're going to get those tag team titles back from Nakamura and Cesaro. And Kofi says, look, this is a sign. This is a sign that it's your turn to shine. Woods is out. Now I'm going to be out for at least 6 weeks. This is your time. And Big E is like, no. And Kofi's like, no, dude, this is it, man. This is your opportunity. You have been selfless. When I was the WWE champion last year, there was no jealousy. There was nothing. You were always there for me. You're always there for everybody else. Now it's your time. And then he made a very odd comment. He goes, he wanted him to come in for a hug. But instead of just saying that, he goes, come on, put your meat on my meat. I don't know. Whenever I've asked somebody, I don't ask too many people for a hug anyway, but if I did, that's a very bizarre way to ask somebody for a hug. Put your meat on my meat. That's a very different kind of Smackdown, I think. But here we are. Big E looks to finally, possibly, be getting a singles push. And this is something that is long overdue. Big E, I think, absolutely has the potential to be a singles title holder in this company. Big E could be somebody, I keep talking about new stars. You got to make new stars. Out with the old, in with the new. He could be one of those people. It's not just people like Aleister Black on Raw, or Andrade, or Angel Garza. It's people like Big E. Guy's built like a brick house. He can fly around that ring. He's got charisma for days. We see him most of the time. He's being very goofy and stuff, but I think there could be a more serious side to him. This is an opportunity for him. Absolutely, you don't have to break up the New Day to do it. Kofi doesn't have to turn on Big E. Xavier Woods doesn't have to come back and give him a low blow. You don't even ever have to break up the New Day. I don't know that New Day ever has to be broken up. But Big E certainly deserves a chance to go out on his own, and I'm happy to see that. We had a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match for with the winner challenging AJ Styles this Friday for the Intercontinental Championship. Chad Gable, Drew Gulak, Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado. AJ Styles did commentary and said that he was protesting the match because it makes no sense that one of these guys is going to win one match and all of a sudden they're going to be wrestling for the championship. And you know what? He's not wrong. But when you have no ranking system, this is what happens. It is a free-for-all. When you have there's nothing, even if you didn't have a ranking system, there's no rhyme or reason for why or when people get title shots. So this is what happens. This is what happens. This was one of my favorite matches all week long. This was all action. Gable, I thought Gable was the real standout here in this match. He went into beast mode. He was tossing guys around left and right. Gable looked great. Metalik looked great. You kind of forget how good he really is because he's treated like a nobody. And I'm pretty sure that in a couple of weeks after he loses to AJ, he'll go right back to being a nobody. Right? And therein lies the problem in many ways with WWE. But he's treated like a nobody. But all I heard when Gran Metalik signed with WWE, I didn't know much about him, but all I heard is, man, this is a huge signing. It's a huge signing for WWE because this guy is truly one of the best in the world. Wait until you see what this guy can do. We've seen glimpses of it here and there, but then he debuted and we barely saw any of him. And they sent him and the Lucha House Party out to the ring with a fucking piñata. That was their great idea for these guys. Oh, we have the Mexicans. Let's send them to the ring with a piñata. Oh, on Raw we have X number of black wrestlers. Let's just bunch them all up together, or let's just put them in one giant group. It's like, this is the way that people in this company think. These people are fucking stupid. They have a bunch of fucking stupid people working in this company. I've never seen people so simple-minded in my life. How could this company make billions of... You know what? I take that back. This company can make billions of dollars off other stupid people. We're all stupid people for giving them our money. Stupid people prey on other stupid people and make a lot of money. It's the American way. I guess it's always been that way. I had forgotten about that. The whole piñata shit with the Lucha House Party. Bunch of fucking morons in this company. So yeah, that was their grand idea for Gran Metalik. No wonder we never really saw what this guy was fully capable of. So he looked great in this match. I thought Lince Dorado looked great in this match. Drew Gulak, he had the Gulak on Gable. He made the ropes. Gable with the ankle lock, grapevine the leg, the way that Kurt Angle used to do. When Kurt Angle, when he did that, you knew the match was over. He did that to Shawn Michaels in their WrestleMania match, and Shawn had nowhere to go. He tapped out. Here, Dorado hit a gigantic top rope splash onto Gable for a near fall. Couple of moonsaults from Lince. Went for a third one. Gulak stopped him. Gable with a huge German suplex off the top rope to Dorado. And Lince Dorado literally flipped over upon landing, right? He was folded up, he flipped over, and he just fell out of the ring. Perfectly, right through the ropes. I thought it was awesome. If you're ever going to make your exit, that's the way you make your exit. So Metalik then hit a diving elbow drop off the rope onto Gable for the win. I thought for sure Chad Gable was going over here. The way he looked in there, he looked like a man possessed. But I was happy to see Metalik get the surprise win. I'm okay with that. AJ comes in, he offers a handshake to Metalik. And he then, before he can shake back, he slaps the taste out of Metalik's mouth, knocks him down. Metalik slaps him back. Hits a springboard DDT. And then he poses with the championship that he absolutely is not going to win on Friday. And some people are going to say, oh, it's too predictable. This sucks. What's to like about it? You know what? You're going to get a great pro wrestling match on Friday. At least I hope. If they give them time, you're going to get a great wrestling match on Smackdown on Friday night. That's what you're going to get. And if these two can work maybe they can work in a near fall spot where they can actually make people believe, even if just for a couple of seconds, that is always the telltale sign of a great match. But this was Metalik's first singles win ever on SmackDown. In the same week that Shelton Benjamin got his first singles win on Raw since 2006. 14 years. And there was a note in the Observer this week that Edge on Raw and Daniel Bryan on SmackDown are part of the writing teams now for their respective brands. I don't know if that means that they have creative input over just their own stories or in general, they're now part of the writing team giving input. But you know what? I watched this and I thought to the Observer, I think I saw this on Friday, and then I watched Friday night, and then it hit me like a lightning bolt, and I said, you know what? It all makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world if Daniel Bryan has been given influence, let's say, over the Intercontinental stuff on the show. If Bryan has any creative influence on the show, I don't know what that includes, right? I would sit here and bash him just like I bash the rest of the writing geniuses there if I knew that he was responsible for a karaoke contest or something. Believe me, I'm sure Daniel Bryan is not contributing ideas like karaoke contests to the show, but we just don't know, right? But it makes all the sense in the world if you see how this Intercontinental stuff with AJ is playing out on TV, because just think back. Think back to that segment when AJ won the championship. He beat Bryan. He came out the next week. He had a championship celebration. Wrestlers were surrounding the ring. Daniel Bryan was in the ring. He got on the mic and he cut this promo. And you look at the people that AJ has wrestled since then. Drew Gulak. Gran Metalik now. He's going to be in the ring with Gran Metalik. Big E now looks to be getting a singles push. These are all people that Daniel Bryan singled out in that segment. He pointed each one of them out. And now they're being featured or they're getting a push on TV. I don't think that's a coincidence. Then we had the bar fight between Sheamus and Jeff Hardy from Irish Shannon's Bar in Orlando. They cut to the bar. The referee was having a drink. Sheamus walked in all dressed up looking like a paper boy out of the 1920s. Jeff walked in and very calmly took a seat next to Sheamus. I thought, is this a very different bar fight than I was expecting? Maybe they're going to have a verbal joust while sharing a brew. And Sheamus, asked Jeff, hey, you want a drink? And Jeff says, my brother had to delete his WWE career, but I'm here to try to get mine back. Sheamus took his hat off, gave it to the bartender. Hardy threw a beer in his face, and the brawl began. And he slammed Jeff on top of the bar, and he kind of dragged him across with all the broken shards of glass. Hit the 10 beats of the bow, and Sheamus asks for a drink. He goes, no, top shelf. I want the good stuff. So as he's waiting for his drink, here comes Jeff running across the top of the bar, diving onto him. There's a, not an arcade, but it's one of these like basketball games. They have a hoop in the corner and you throw basketballs, try to get it in. Jeff is grabbing basketballs and throwing them at Sheamus. Batista won't like that. Batista will not like that. What was that, during the Great Khali? Was it the Great Khali feud, right? Was it the Great Khali had a basketball and like he crushed it, I think, in his hands? And what was Batista's line? Like, basketballs don't hold grudges or something like that. I hope these basketballs don't hold grudges or else Jeff Hardy's going to be in trouble. He was bouncing them left and right off of Sheamus here. So then they fought into the hallway. And I always wonder about segments like this. Like, when Booker T and Stone Cold had their supermarket brawl years ago on Smackdown, that was a real supermarket. And if I remember, obviously they cut them a check after for all of the damages. I just wonder, like, does WWE come to them and just go, listen, we're going to destroy the shit out of your store, or in this case, out of your bar. So we're just going to cut you a check. Let's just say it's going to be $10,000 in damage. Here you go. Or like, does the bar then have to like itemize everything and say, shit, they broke this, they broke that, we'll send you an invoice. Like, how does that work? Because they destroyed the hell out of this place. So they're brawling into the hallway. And Sheamus drags Jeff into the men's room. And he puts Jeff Hardy's head, face first, into the urinal. And he flushes. Now, anybody who has been to a bar before, if you've been out at the club, at the bar, late at night, sticky shoes when you go into the bathroom, you know what I'm talking about. It is the most vile place in the world to be. So I'm watching this, and there's nobody else in the bar at the time, but I'm watching this, and I'm like, I'm starting to gag. I'm starting to gag myself just watching this, and he's putting his head in the urinal, and he's flushing, and I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, you would hope that before they do stuff like this, they obviously, clean the shit out of that thing. But I feel like even if they cleaned it, if they're like, don't worry, we're going to disinfect it and clean it, like, it doesn't matter. People have pissed in that thing before. Like, I would just vomit all over the place if I had to do something like that. Just the thought of it. Like, I would have to stand there. The only way I would ever agree to this, I would stand there and go, I want to watch you. I want to physically observe you ripping the old urinal out of the wall and installing a brand new one right off the truck that's never been used before. Then maybe I'll agree to do it. Otherwise, you ain't getting me to do this. I don't care how much money you pay me. You ain't getting me to do this. Hardy is like gagging like he's going to throw up, and he fought back and he knocked Sheamus backwards into one of the bathroom stalls, and Sheamus kind of fell down, sitting on top of the toilet. At least he didn't have his face shoved into the toilet like Stone Cold did to Brian Pillman. Gave him a swirly many years ago. Sheamus recovered. He's looking for Jeff. Jeff had stumbled back out into the hallway. Now here comes Sheamus. He doesn't see Jeff. Where is Jeff Hardy? Jeff was hiding in the janitor's closet, as it turned out. So Jeff Hardy comes out of the closet with a ladder in his hand. And Sheamus is, at one point, he's got Jeff, he's holding him, and he's slamming him into the brick wall. It's like a brick wall on one side of the bar. He's slamming him into the brick wall. And then he throws him into the, because they have like live bands perform, I guess, at the bar. I should go to their Yelp page, actually, and see how this bar is rated. The, what's it called again? Irish Shannons? But anyway, he throws him into the drum set on the stage, and there's like an electric guitar, and he smashes the electric guitar against the wall because Jeff ducked. And Hardy gives Sheamus a twist of fate, and he sets up the ladder, and he's about to climb the ladder, but Jeeves, the bartender, jumps Hardy from behind, and Jeff fights back. He powerbombs Jeeves through a table. Sheamus shatters this chair, just completely shatters on impact right across Jeff's back. And Jeff is out, or he's down. And Sheamus takes that stupid hat from behind the bar, puts the hat right on top of Jeff's face. So now Jeff he's got to sniff all that hat sweat from Sheamus. Maybe they had two hats. Maybe they swapped hats. I don't know. But he put the hat on top of Jeff's face. And Sheamus goes back behind the bar. He pours himself a drink. He drinks his beer. And he walks back over to Jeff, and when he pulls the hat off of Jeff's face, all of a sudden Jeff is wearing face paint. He wasn't wearing face paint before. Now his face is all painted black and white, and he opens his eyes, and you see these white contact lenses in. I thought we were going to get Willow. I feel like he kind of was, with the makeup and everything, he kind of was, dressed up as Willow. We just didn't get the old Willow Bellow. Remember that? Willow. Remember Willow? Remember the days of me talking about Willow here on the podcast? So I don't know if he was some form of Willow or what he was supposed to be here. But he beats down Sheamus again, and he ended up hitting a swanton bomb off the ladder onto what I'm sure was a crash pad, because that would have been fucking dumb for him to do a swanton bomb onto the frickin' onto the floor. Would have been dumb. And he pins him. And Jeff Hardy gets the win. And I love that the closing shot of this, as the copyright came up and they were fading to black, is Jeff Hardy slowly limping back towards the bathrooms. Nothing like taking a shit after a hard-fought battle. I enjoyed this. And this needs to be the end. I enjoyed this more knowing that this is probably the end of this feud. This needs to be the end. There's no reason for this not to be the end. Jeff won. He got his revenge, and now he is well positioned either for a match with AJ Styles, if they want Jeff to challenge him at SummerSlam for the IC title, or he could be the Fiend's first challenger coming out of SummerSlam, assuming that he wins the championship back from Braun Strowman. I floated that idea a few weeks ago. Obviously, there's still a question about Jeff's future with that, court hearing at the end of September. And who knows, that next hearing could be pushed back again. It's already been pushed back a whole bunch of times. I mean, you can't just keep the guy in limbo until the court date if it's going to keep getting delayed. But I think he's well positioned now to challenge, Bray for the championship. There's a match we've never seen before. If you do that, who then challenges AJ at SummerSlam for the IC title? What about Big E? I mean, you got Gran Metalik, for God's sakes, getting a championship match after one win. They have a few weeks to start building up Big E. Maybe it's Big E. Maybe there's a match between Big E and AJ at SummerSlam for the championship, and it's the first. So Big E doesn't win, but it's the first match in a program, in a feud between them, that eventually builds to Big E becoming the Intercontinental Champion. That's an idea that I can get behind.